Wow, we went through a lot of information. That's why I call this like it's a crash course in positioning yourself to be found and really just getting yourself starting to take the steps to get ready for love. So, we talked about the importance of prayer. And what I talked about prayer is make sure you're praying in terms of for your soul, right? Which is your mind, which is your will, and what is your emotions. I said you have to guard your gate. That's your ears, your sight. What are you putting in your ears? What are you allowing to be put in your ears? What are you allowing your eyes to see? What are you putting in your mouth? Um, or allowing your lips to touch, your mouth to touch. What are you putting in your nose? What smell, scent? The scent of a man sometimes can be strong. That can be appealing, or a scent of a woman. Come on now, all that can be appealing. Also, what are you allowing your hands to touch? Right, talking about the five senses, and I feel like I'm leaving out something. Sight, smell, taste, sound, touch. So that's all of them. And all those are gateways into your spirit, and you have to guard that. So you constantly praying, to guard, to restore your soul. Psalms 23 also talked about, and also renew your mind. Romans 12, 1 and 2, talking about renewing your mind so you can transform your life. And lastly, you're praying, asking God to let the Holy Spirit to lead you each and every day. And we talked about Luke 9:23, which talk about crucifying the flesh, having that level of self-control, you know, putting down your agenda and what you want and saying, Lord, I surrender to you. Lord, let your will be done. And really just finding that place of wholeness of who you are. That's first thing. The next thing is we talked about purpose. You should have gone through and answered the 50 questions. Excuse me. You should have went through and answered the 50 questions to get clarity on what exactly is your purpose. So you can get clear on what in the world God created you to do. Okay? And I also want to recommend, I don't think I do I have a copy of it right here. Yes, I do. If you're still struggling with your purpose, I actually have two books I want to recommend. But this is a great book that you can take a read of, The Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. Many people I know have really gotten clear of their purpose by reading this book. It's like a 40-day journey and devotion. So it's not an overnight deal, but it's definitely something that can change your life if you're still struggling. Hopefully, you're not still struggling because you should have gone through the 50 questions. Um, also, I had you do some vision casting in all 7 areas of your life. What are the top 3 priorities? And taking a look at that. And that kind of led you kind of right in with the planning and the productivity. And with planning and productivity, we talked about the importance of prioritizing your time, of looking at the top 3 things that you should be doing in each area of your life so you're not over chaotic, right? We talked about the apply the 3D effect or die. Oh my God. Apply the 3D effect or die, right? And I talked about what's the 3D effect. That's delaying certain tasks that are assignments that you don't have to do right now, decommitting yourself, saying, actually, I can't do that again. I'm sorry, I told you I could do that. And that's also denying, saying, like we talked about the example with the supervisor, may have to tell them that, hey, I can't take anything else on in my capacity. Can't anybody else take this on? Or finding ways to renegotiate other deadlines so you can buy some more time. And then lastly but not least is delegating. But delegating. For those of you who have those lovely little kids, you get them to work. If your kid is over 5 years old, they should be working, right? They should be helping you fold clothes. They should be helping you putting up the dishes. And I know sometimes they're getting more in the way than anything if they're young like that, but train them up while they're young. Also, if you're trying to see if you have other members in your family, recruit them. If you live with your mother, maybe you can help work with her, delegate with dishes and other duties and assignments. You got to open your mouth and communicate and have these conversations and making sure you're not doing more than your fair share. I'm just saying. All right. And also that goes true for siblings as well. So the next thing I talked about was presence. And it was so many things with presence. I added some things in video 5, which I talked about. Your presence is your appearance, how you show up. Talk about, make sure we don't have any gap in coverage with your hair. I talk about your presence on social media, your presence on an online dating site, the importance of having a good, well lit headshot to make sure that you don't have a glare in your headshot. I talk about the importance of focusing on what it is that you want rather than what it is, not focusing on what you don't want. And trying to see what else we talked about in presence, being fully present and being actively listening to the conversation, be engaging. And in between 4 and 5, I gave an example of my actual dating profile. At least I recreated a profile and showed you what I was put in there, how it would read, so you can get an example and be inspired to write yours. Not that you're going to plagiarize what I wrote, but you're going to say, how can I use what Jill, the layout that she used, to also express my own self. And I talk about, like, on Christian Mingle, I love that they ask, what are your favorite scriptures and why? It really gets to the core of who you are in terms of your values and your beliefs. And then lastly, but definitely not least, we talk about places. We talked about church, whether that's at worship, at what is it, praise and worship practice, or whether it's at just routine church Sundays, Bible studies, or other events at the church. You can meet somebody, community, out and about, at your grocery store, at I don't want to say the Rotary Club. Who goes to Rotary Club? At your local chambers event, at work, family events and functions, online dating, dating sites, and social media. Okay, so many places that you can meet people, but you have to already be positioned with doing these other things as well. So when you show up in such a bigger, bold way that you know you'll be irresistible. So anyway, congratulations on completing this course. I hope that you find some value in it. Let me know what you think. It's a crash course, so it's meant to be compressed and short. And but with that being said, I still hope that you got something from it, and it really, even if you gotten your purpose from this or some level of clarity, please take a minute and give me your feedback, because I will love to know how this has shifted your thinking, or shifted how you do life and do relationships. So until next time, be blessed. That's the end of this course. Perhaps you'll join me in the group program, or you can join me one-on-one, or just connect with me on Facebook and Instagram. And until next time, be blessed. Oh, make sure you join the Facebook group. Have a great one.